Karla Young. I am a native of Lancaster, a graduate of Lancaster High School, and I am currently an art teacher with the Lancaster City Schools. Once again, I have teamed up with the Lancaster Festival to bring you a week of virtual art classes, so I hope you'll join us. We all know it's the most wonderful time of the year, and since I'll be home for Christmas, and so will many of you, we thought it might bring some holiday cheer to come up with a week full of holiday and winter crafts, ornaments, and gifts for you to make while you're at home and follow along with me. So I hope you'll join us. Let's get started. Today we're going to be making a Let It Snow 3D winter snowflake. The supplies that you're going to need are 6 sheets of paper. The paper that I'm using is 8 inches by 8 inches. You can make your squares a little bit larger or a little bit smaller, depending on how large you want your snowflake to turn out. You can also just use plain white paper, or as my example here shows, I used decorative scrapbooking paper that you can buy at a local craft store. So what you're gonna need in addition to that square paper is a pencil, a pair of scissors, a glue bottle, and possibly a stapler. You might also want a small piece of ribbon to attach at the end so that you can hang up your snowflake when it's finished. So the first thing you're going to do with this piece of paper is you're going to be folding it in half diagonally. So you're going to take this corner and fold it across to this corner, turning that square into a triangle. And then leaving that triangle folded, you're going to take this point and fold it across to this far point here, just making that triangle a little bit smaller. Okay, so let me show you that one more time. You're going to take that square, you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to fold it in half again. Now this next step is probably the trickiest step of all, and so I've drawn here on this extra square exactly what you need to do. You need to hold your triangle so that the long open edge is vertical up and down, and the folded edge is along the bottom. And then you're going to be cutting 3 vertical lines. They're going to be parallel with this long edge. Some people get confused and they hold their triangle this way and they cut 3 short lines, and that's going to be incorrect. So you want to hold it like this so that it's kind of pointing over like an arrow, and you want these 3 lines going up and down. So I'm going to use a pencil to show you this. Again, I'm going to hold it so it's pointing like an arrow. The open long edge is here and the fold is on the bottom. And I'm going to make 3 cuts, vertical cuts, and we want to stop before we reach the edge of the paper. If they're not super straight or super spaced out, it's okay. Okay, so it looks like that. Next, we're going to cut on these lines. Again, make sure you do not cut all the way through, or you're going to cut your triangle in half. And one more. Okay, so it looks like this. And then you're ready to open it up and start the gluing process. So here's what it's going to look like after your cuts have been made and you've opened it up. All right, we're going to try to use the glue bottle here, and we are going to take this center diamond shape, and we're going to overlap these 2 points and hold them in place until the glue dries. So we need a little dot of glue right here. And I'm just going to pinch and hold that till it dries. Might take a few seconds. So the first section has been glued successfully. What we're going to do next is we're actually going to flip this over, and we're going to take the next two pieces and we're going to glue them in the opposite direction of the first piece. So we need to take a little dot of glue here, overlap these pieces, and you do have to hold it a while so that it sticks. If you are having trouble getting your pieces to stick, you can take a stapler and carefully staple those two pieces together. Right, there we go. So now we're going to flip it back over the way we started, and we're going to take these next two sections, overlap, and glue. So as you can see, we're alternating the direction of these pieces. And hold that. There it goes. So I'm going to use my stapler. All right, and then we're going to flip this back over, and we have one section left to glue. Put a little dot and stick that and hold that in place. So this is one section of the snowflake, and you need a total of 6. So I've made these other 5 pieces ahead of time, and I'm going to show you now how they all fit together. Okay, so I like to work with 3 at a time. I'm going to take these, I like to make sure they're going in the same direction, and I'm going to gather them together at the points like this. And then we want to either glue or staple those in place. So just to save some time here, I'm going to use my stapler. Okay, so right now it looks like this. And then I'm going to take a dot of glue wherever the X piece, like the center of that part that looks like an X. We're going to put a little dot of glue here and glue it to the one beside it. I'm going to keep that pinched, and I'm going to try to do this one at the same time here. So now we have half of our 6-part snowflake. I'm going to set this aside and do the exact same thing with the other 3. I like to make sure that they are going in the same direction, and I'm going to gather them up by the end points. Again, you can use glue, or you can use a stapler if you have one handy. And then these parts need to connect, and these 2 parts need to connect. All right, gives our snowflake a little bit of stability. So I'm going to put a dot of glue here and pinch those together, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side and pinch these together. So now we have 2 halves of our snowflake completed, and the last step is just to put them together. So we have the 2 halves of our snowflake. Now we just need to overlap these points. I'm going to use my stapler again to save some time and some frustration. Okay, Okay, so now they're attached in the center. And the last step is to attach here and down here. You could even have your kids maybe paint on some pieces of white paper and then cut those papers down into squares and use pre-painted paper that your kids have decorated. That might be fun. The last thing is to use that loop of ribbon and attach it if you want to be able to hang these. All right, and there you have a Let It Snow 3D winter snowflake. Thanks for joining me along with the Lancaster Festival and creating some art with us. We hope you have yourself a merry little Christmas and a happy